What is going on, ICBA fans? My name is Frosty, aka the Alpha Like and Rock, and welcome to week 3 of our ICBA league. Now, last week we pulled off a nice win against Max Rapture. So if you missed the video, please go check it out, as it was a fun battle. It was like 4 a.m. too, but here we are back to post battle comms, just because most of the time I am unable to do them live, as I wish I could do them more live, but I just don't. So hopefully that'll change a little bit now that the summer's coming to an end. But as you guys can see, we had our battle with Techno. There we go. We had a battle with Techno and his Carolina Panterians. He's the guy who has the Dark Ride team, which is as you can see, he brought it this week. I am not going to actually do team builders in the beginning anymore, because one, it's going to save time for me, because it just adds like 10 minutes to the video that I feel that I don't really need to add. I'll just kind of go over the sets that I brought and just kind of what it is. So as you can see, I brought Charizard X. This is a Dragon Dance set with Outrage and Flare Blitz and Roost. I think it's Jolly, if I remember correctly. This is a defensive Miltank, as that will be my check-in switch to that Darmanitan. I have an Assault Vested Electros. I also have an Assault Vested Tangrowth. The Electros is special, and the Tangrowth is actually a physical Tangrowth, so it has Power Whip, Knockoff, Earthquake. We also have a specially defensive Tangrowth, Toxapex, so we did bring the Regenerator Core. So we're bringing like a 3-wall set. It's a triple defensive core. And then we're also bringing a Choice Scarf Silvally with Explosion. So it is a U-turning, explosioning Silvally. So it does have Ice Fang and a couple others, but it's basically to come in, and because Explosion one-shots everything that is not the Crustle or the Durant. But it doesn't really have anything to hit the Crustle or the Durant anyways, but I would never really use it on that. So let us go into the battle, and let's just start the battle, and I can go over how it went, and we can just go over this real quick. So I want to try to make these videos not so long. So here, my plan was always to lead with Charizard, because I had a feeling he was going to lead with this Crustle when I saw it. So now, with that, there ended up being a DC earlier, so this is like our 3rd time around. So here he knew I was leading off with the same set, because but we said, okay, we'll just change it up. You can switch your leads if you want, but I still led with Charizard because I wanted to. But here I figured he might go for an attacking move here, because before he went for rocks, so I went for a Dragon Dance just in case he wanted to get his rocks up again. But he does not actually get his rocks up. He goes for a Stone Edge. So here I'm like, okay, good call. I mean, he pretty much knew that I had Dragon Dance, so it was a good call on his part. Here I just go for Outrage. I know it one-shots, and I'm like, okay, I can get rid of this Crustle. Nope, it's got Sturdy. I had forgotten this thing had gotten Sturdy. So, and then he's got a Pipe Berry too, so he gets half of his health back. So I'm sitting there going, great. I'm about to lose Charizard turn 2 to a Stone Edge, but luckily he misses. So this actually plays out well for us, because now Charizard's guaranteed to kill this thing. So he just switches out because he wants to preserve it, and he decides to sack off a Darmanitan. So Darmanitan is going to get one-shotted. There's no way in hell it survives a +1. What he needs here is to hope that I get confused, or he needs to hope that I get the 3-turn Outrage. I do get the 3-turn Outrage, which does kind of sucks, because I'm not going to be able to one-shot this LeJon James. So, but I am going to do quite a bit of damage to it, and I had already known that it was Life Orbed, so I knew whatever damage it was going to do to me, it was going to do Life Orb recoil. So here we're going to lose Charizard, but we did take out Darmanitan, which was a big threat to my team. So we do get a lot of damage off on this Durant, which sucks, because if I was like +2, I would have actually killed most of his team. I would have actually killed that Durant too. So here, just going to Toxapex. There's no reason not to. I believe I just go into Scold. He has a check for this in his Rotom Wash. I knew it was coming too. So so I'm like, okay, it's a Rotom Wash. It eats that up, and I'm like, okay, this has got to be some sort of defensive variant, maybe a Scarfed variant. I don't know. It took a decent amount of damage, but the Calcs were kind of all over the place with it. So Here I just decided to switch into Ivy. It's a dedicated switch. I'm not too worried, except for if he has the Will-O-Wisp, then I'm going to be worried. He gets a crit there. I don't really care because I can get it. And then he goes back into his Crystal. I'm like, okay, if this thing is full HP invested or any sort of defensive investments, he's going to live this. So he does get his Stealth Rocks, revealing that he's actually faster. So he has a lot of speed investments, or he's just naturally faster. I didn't actually check that, but I go for the Power Whip, and I'm like, okay, I should be able to take this thing out. Nope, it's defensively invested. So I'm like, great. I didn't kill it. He's going to get a layer of spikes up. This is definitely going to be a huge pain because now that he's got one layer of spikes and he's got a layer of spikes and he's got the rocks up, every switch I do is going to hurt. So it sucks because I'm like, great. I wanted to try and keep that from happening, but it still happened. Here, I can't really stay in on this. I mean, yeah, I'm bulkily invested, but I'm not too worried about it. So here I just decided I'm gonna go into Whitney. I am rocking the Rocky helmet, so if he does do physical contact, he will kill himself, which is basically what I'm trying to get him to do. And he actually goes for Thunder Fangs because he probably thought I was going into something else. So I guess I could have actually stayed in and killed this thing with an Earthquake, but it is what it is. But it kills itself to Life Orb Recall, which sucks because if it had like 2 less health, I would have gotten it with the Rocky Helmet and Miltank would have gotten the kill. So here he switches into this. Now this is where I kind of make a mistake. I should have just sacked off the Miltank. The biggest thing I had was, I didn't know if this thing was physical or not, so I figured it might be special. So I figured I could actually switch in and take a Sludge Wave here, because all I take is rocks damage on my Unagi. But God, does that do some fucking damage. And it's kind of a 50-50 roll here on whether he's gonna get me. It's a roll, and it's like I said, it's 50-50, but he actually ends up rolling the 50, so I end up losing it here. I just really wanted to get a lot of damage off on this, so that way I could bring in Toxic and I can get a Scald off and kill it. But as for right now, I don't really have anything, as 2 of my biggest hitters are down, and so I only have my Sovali left. So his switch right now is going to be this. This is kind of where I wish I had Toxic, as I would have gone Toxic, and then I would have just stalled it out for time, or maybe just eaten the Thunderbolt. Since I'm defensively invested, I could have eaten the Thunderbolt and then scolded whatever came back in, and hopefully got a burn on that. But I would have had to switch out immediately, which does suck. But it is what it is. But we're at 5-3, but I know that I'm losing steam. Or it's 4-3, but I know I'm losing steam, so I gotta make the switch. I gotta go into Chimera, which I probably should have gone into my Tangrowth here, because my Tangrowth would have eaten this and I wouldn't have had to take so much of my Chimera, because this is the last big thing I have. And like I said, his 2 biggest threats to Explosion are down, so I can Explosion insta-kill anything on his team. So here I just decide if he leaves this in, I want to get rid of it. So, but he actually makes a good switch, as I pull off the Explosion just to get rid of something. But I probably should have just U-turned, because I could have just came back in and then Explosioned on another turn, as I would have survived 1 more re-entry. But I just go for this and I get this thing out of the way, which I could have actually just gone into Tangrowth, and Tangrowth would have done all sorts of things, bad things to this thing. So, but yeah, it's just, it does suck. We're gonna end up having just our defensive wall cores, but he brings in Emo Jake, and at this point I'm like, okay, I have nothing for this Darkrai. At this point I just kind of have to hope for burns. I have to hope for something. So I'm just kind of going, and then I see Nasty Plot and I'm like, this game is pretty much over. There's nothing much I can do, especially if he's attacking Sludge Wave and Thunderbolt. There's nothing I can do. I can survive 2. I can survive 1. Sorry. On Tangrowth, I can survive 1 Dark Pulse, but I cannot survive 2. So I'll be able to get 1 big hit of damage down, but I should have sacked Whitney off earlier, as Whitney just didn't have anything once the Darmanitan went down. I should have sacked it off to get in a clean switch so I still would have had my Unagi around for later, because Unagi would have definitely checked this thing. I could have easily checked this thing with Unagi, but it is what it is. But it sucks. I made a misplay, and I could have done it. I don't know how I would have dealt with the other one, but I would have done it. Because as you see here, Power Whip does a huge chunk of damage to this thing. So if I could have gotten it within like 50%, I could have actually KO'd this thing, which Unagi could have easily taken 2 Dark Pulses at +2 because of the Assault Vest. So, and if I was physical with Drain Punch, I would have one-shot that. So I thought about it, but I just decided to go special. I should have just gone physical with Drain Punch and an Ice Punch and and other things, but I didn't. So here we're gonna take a Thunderbolt. We're gonna lose. We're gonna take a 2-0 loss, as I knew like I could have survived it if I was at full health, but this is when all the hazards were stacked against me. But so we're gonna take a 2-0 loss here, and I'm not really mad. I think I did blah 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 blah. I'm not really mad. I definitely made some big misplay. I definitely made some misplays by not sacking off the Miltank, letting Unagi take all that damage. Same thing with Chimera, and it went for Explosion too soon. I should have just U-turned and done damage to the Rotom, and then gone into Tangrowth, because then Tangrowth would have pulled in the. It would have pulled in the Nidoking, but the Nidoking would have had to take a Power Whip. And at neutral damage, Power Whip would have done decent amounts of damage, at least put it within range of an Ice Fang. And then I could have Ice Fang, sacked off something else, and then Explosion on Emo Jake to I could have sacked off Toxapex and then gone in for something else there. Or, it would have definitely forced out some stuff. So, he doesn't go into Emo Jake, but he goes, if I go for Ice Fang and I kill it, I know he's going to bring in, the Rotom Wash. I can then bring in Tangrowth then gets Power Whip off and does huge chunks of damage to something. I could have actually won this match. And now looking back at it, looking at it and thinking about it, I could have won this match, but I made some big misplays, and my opponent made me pay for it. I could have actually brought Scarp Buzzwole too. Scarp Buzzwole would have done some work to this team once Crustle and LeJon James went down. The Durant, once they both went down, I could have easily just brought Choice Scarf Earthquake, and I would have. I mean, the only thing it wouldn't have hit was a Rotom, but I could have swapped out on the Rotom, or I could have gone for I could have gone for, because I'm thinking his first initial reaction would have been to bring in the Nidoking on Buzzwole, because Buzzwole, if I reveal, if let's say earlier in the match, I bring Scarf Buzzwole and I go for the Leech Life, and it does lots of damage to this. He then has to bring in the other one, and then I catch that thing with an Earthquake. That thing just dies to an Earthquake. And if I get a boost, the worst thing is that I have to switch out because he brings in Rotom. And so I switch it out. But if I had a Scarf Buzzwole, I then could have brought it in. I could have easily checked that Darkrai, but I'm not actually even mad about the loss. It is what it is. So I mean, the team is doing well. I made mistakes. So we got lucky with the Stone Edge miss, because the second Stone Edge would have been bad, but it also would have been. It was also good. It was good and it was bad. But it was good because it definitely swung some momentum in our favor, especially because after because the first time we did it, I didn't set up a Dragon Dance the first time. I immediately just went for Outrage, and it was a 2-turn Outrage because he took the Outrage, and I got him low enough to where a second Outrage. I didn't pop his berry, but I would have gotten him with the second Outrage. And then he went into LeJon James, and if I had gotten a 3-turn Outrage, I would have actually killed LeJon James, because the second Outrage would have done enough damage, and with Life Orb recoil, yes, I would have taken the Rock Slide, but he would not have. I don't think he would have KO'd me. I would have been low, but he wouldn't have KO'd me. He would have had to bring something in that was faster. That's when he brings in Emo Jake, or he brings in Scarf Darmanitan. I don't know, but he has to bring something in that's faster. That's when he brings in Emo Jake, and at that point, I can just sack it off, because at that point, Emo Jake's gonna outdo me. And if I go for, even if I'm confused, I still go for the Outrage, because Outrage is a one shot on Emo Jake. So, but I can theory craft this to the end of the world, but I'm not gonna worry about it. We did take a loss. It does kind of suck, but we're not in bad shape. We're 1-2 at a -1, which is not bad. We could be 1-2 at a -6, and that would suck. But we're actually performing very well. So next week, week 4, we're taking on Paper and his his Sceptiles. I don't know. I can't pronounce the name of the city that it's named after. It's like Sicilia. Sicilian Sceptiles? Something like that. I'm sorry if I don't know it all that well. So, but I know he has a decent team. If I remember correctly, who is on his team? I know I have some plans for it. Like, I have some ideas in my head that I want to use. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe as always. I'm sorry it's a little bit different. It's very short compared, you know, to other videos, but you know, there's not much to say sometimes. So, you know, I made big mistakes, but you know what? It's a learning process. In Pokemon, yes, you're gonna make mistakes, and as it is, you just gotta learn from your mistakes. So I hope, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in our next battle when we battle Paper and his Sceptiles. All right, have yourselves a good night. Bye.